Welcome back, everybody. It is Specs, and today we are finally getting into round 3 of the playoffs for Woods Season 9. And today I got a very exciting replay to get to, so I'll get to that shortly. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the Oklahoma City Bulldogs, and let's just get right into it. Since this is a new phase on the channel, we are going to be, going over their entire team as per usual. So, first up, we got Tornadus, a Kyurem. Very problematic Pokemon. Obviously, Regenerator. It's a very solid ability, one of the best things in the game. And as you'll soon see as we go through his team, you'll notice that this ability pops up quite a bit. But yeah, that's the point. Really good speed tier, good offensive stats, decent bulk, and being able to run groups. You don't need a hazard and make it a really solid pivot. That was a good setup mon. Unfortunately, I don't think he was allowed to use an Escapade on Tornadus Therian, but you can still use stuff to bulk up. And Oklahoma City Bulldogs, I must praise him on his creativity. He really pulled stuff out. There is a time where he ran the Cuss That Berry rollout. And so he's a very creative player. And he also has run bulk up Tornadus Therian with acrobatics and super run. So yeah, definitely super creative. Gotta watch out for that. But anyway, even if he doesn't want to be creative, it's just a classic Hurricane knockoff feature and default set. Makes it a very solid play and also does really good hazard remover. Excuse me. And if you don't want to explore that, you even have, if you want to explore even more, you have a lot of coverage options. So you got stuff like, we already know it gets Focus Blast, Heat Wave, Weather Ball, Weather Beams. It gets stuff like Grass Knot as well, or Dark Pulse, or it has super power on the physical side. Iron Tail as well to hit fairy types, it gets knocked off as I mentioned. Slud Bomb, Sludge Wave is also good for fairy types as well. So honestly, overall, really solid pull offensive. In terms of the defense, in terms of more utility wise, we got too much there. I already mentioned knockoff, but we also got maybe stuff like Tailwind. It is one of the fastest Tailwinds out there, though, so that's also something to keep in mind. Besides that, not too much on tilt per se, besides defog on all that stuff. But honestly, that's already good enough. So yeah. Anyway. Moving on, we got Mungus, yet another Regenerator mon, Grass Poison. I don't know why I mentioned that, but it does have Grass Poison type. Really high HP and decent defenses means it has really solid bulk, and it has okay offenses. If not uninvested, it really isn't going to do much though. So, low speed doesn't really matter too much because it's just really meant to take hits. One of the best things for Amoonguss though is score 100% accurate sleep move is really hard to deal with. Once you got a grass type, and since it's grass poison type, Sludge Bomb in combination with that is kind of hard to deal with. It gets your pick of poison moves and grass moves obviously. You also get stuff like Foul Play, which is good for some physical attackers and yeah, besides Spore, it also gets access to Stun Spore as well, which could be useful for paralyzing if you don't want to. You want to cripple something without sleeping, because there's sleep cost, there's paralysis cost. Sovereign Treasure can be very useful for stuff like Kyurem as well. Did anyone even draft Kyurem? Oh yeah, someone did, but yeah, they're not real good. So yeah, next up we got Reuniclus, the third Regenerator mon on the road. But even besides Regenerator, gets access to Magic Guard, which is also a very solid ability. Being able to take no damage from indirect attacks is always a great ability. Basically means you're immune to hazards, sand, leech seed, all that stuff without even lifting a finger. You don't have to run boots. You don't have to run Lumberry for status effects. It's great. Regenerator. There's the Assault Vest set, which is most commonly paired with this ability. Just because being able to tank special hits, switch back out, come back in, and you still have a lot of health because of Regenerator. And then there's also Calm Mind sets as well. Usually you pair that with Magic Guard and it runs Leftovers and Cold Burberry, or kind of depends on the matchup, right? Calm Mind, Psychic, Recover, and maybe Focus Blast with under coverage. Speaking of coverage, this has quite a bit, or at least a decent amount. Obviously, I think it's Psychic, Focus Blast. I think it's Access to Thunder. Oh yeah. I already mentioned it. But besides that, also gets access to Energy Ball and Grass Knot, which can be decent coverage. Flash Cannon can be decent for some fairy types. Gets access to Shadow Ball, like most likely to Bug Buzz, not Bug Buzz, Signal Beam. It does have some physical moves, but generally speaking, with a 65 base attack, you're not going to be using those too much. Again, it has a very solid utility pool as well. Encore, Knockoff, Thunder Wave, those are all pretty solid moves, Also Trick as well, if you want to trick like an Iron Ball, for example. If you want to get into the more creative sets, that is definitely an option as well. You probably won't use Overcoat. The only direct benefit this has over Magic Guard is that you're immune to like, Sleep Habit and Sun Spore, but Magic Guard should generally overall better. I mean, I could use it for that. Anyway, next up we got Sableye Mega. Very, very annoying. As you can see, with all the bulk he's had, it's a very bulky team. I wouldn't say stall per se. He's getting it. But anyway, Sableye Mega, obviously the regular form has access to Prankster, which is always good if you want to like status a physical attacker real quick before you go into Mega form, which could be really nice. But yeah, the Mega form gets Magic Bounce, which means basically you don't have to. As long as you send in Sableye correctly. But yeah, most standards said you're probably going to be running Wisp, Knockoff, Recover, Run, Attack or so. Prior decks just scouting moves. But it has a lot of moves as well. You can run Calm Mind to make it like a special sweeper with like Dark Balls and Shadow Ball. You have a lot of physical moves. It gets Poltergeist from Generation 8, which is pretty nice. It's Gyro Ball for fairy types. It gets Metal Burst as well, which is a particular favorite of mine because when I used to play 1v1 in Generation 7, and back then I always ran like this Sableye Mega with a Metal Burst because it's a really good 1v1 mod in that sense. It's a very good glue mod because basically you just hopefully you take a hit and Metal Burst back. And since it's so slow, usually you'll go second. So yeah, just fun fact, Metal Burst actually does not have minus priority on like counter or mirror code. It is actually regular priority. So that means if you are slower, the Metal Burst will work, but if you're faster, it won't. So yeah, I mean 20 base speed usually means you're slower than most of the time. So. And then you can run even less speed with 0 IPs and speed if you really want to. And that also comes with Gyro Ball. But yeah. Physical move pool as well as got a decent one. It has it's like okay attack, it's not that great, but you get Sucker Punch, Shadow Sneak, stuff like that, good priority. I meant the Knockoff, like it's low kick or steals. You can experiment. Anyway, next up we got Kofi. Very, very solid Pokemon here. Triage is kind of good. If it was on a even better Pokemon, it'd be really good. But yeah, Triage works for all healing moves. So that includes stuff like Synthesis, and it also includes stuff like a Draining Kiss. So that means Draining Kiss is offensive plus 3 priority, which is faster than even Extreme Speed. So that's pretty cool. You can run the Calm Mind setup with this thing. You obviously have the fairy moves, but you also have access to stuff like Score Power, which is really nice, and maybe like Giga Drain if you want to run that in combination with Triage as well. I don't know if it gets any other heal moves. Maybe it gets leeches, I don't know. But yeah. Besides that, you can probably run it as a defog pivot as well. It does get access to U-turn and it has a nice utility moves like aromatherapy and stuff like that. So yeah, experiment with that as well. It also gets access to Natural Cure. If you don't really need Triage, you can just run that and make sure you run every status. But then again, it has aromatherapy. Okay, but to be fair, aromatherapy has limited PP though, so Natural Cure is the final movement for Triage. And Flower Barrel is useless in singles. So next up we got Keldeo, a very, very hard hitter. Not something we want to see really. You can run any sort of moves. Actually, no, there's only a couple moves you can really run. Obviously, it gets access to water and fighting moves. Secret Sword, Secret Sword, not Secret Power. Secret Sword is basically the fighting type version of Psyshock, which is pretty cool. You get to smack the shit out of Chansey and Blissey and stuff like that. Hydro Pump, Scald, Surf, all that stuff. You get Flip Turn as well from Momentum on the spec set. And in terms of coverage, you got stuff like Air Slash, you got... Actually, doesn't get that much coverage. Icy Wind as well, an option. Yeah, in terms of special moves, that's pretty much about it. It does have a decent It has some physical moves that could be cool. For example, like it gets access to like Mega Horn, X Scissor, Poison Jab, Stone Edge, especially. I know some Keldeos ran Stone Edge just to deal with something like Rona, which is pretty cool. But yeah, besides that, not much else. So usually with this mon, Specs, Scarf, Calm Mind as well works pretty decently. Justified doesn't really work with this mon, unfortunately, because you're gonna have to take the dark move. And well, I mean, yeah, you resist the dark move obviously, but you know you're not gonna be using an attack for most of the time at least. But yeah, next up we got Quagsire, Unaware Mon, so very tanky. Water ground typing is a very soft typing, only weak to grass. Albeit it is a 4 times weakness, but like just don't keep your Quagsire in grass moves. Yeah, besides that, it does have pretty low spit up, so that is something to be aware of. But it's pretty good at a physical wall as long as you invest properly. Generally speaking, there's only one boost that you ever run. It's going to be like Toxic, Scald, Earthquake, and Recover. I have seen people run stuff with Curse though, which could be pretty interesting. So you have to keep in mind that. Also gets access to Water Absorb, but generally speaking, you're going to be running nowhere. Yeah, and that's usually. But yeah, next up we got Obstagoon, so some pretty decent offensive mons here. Sorry, I was checking something. But so Guts obviously is really nice in conjunction with something like Flame Orb. I swear I can spell. But Flame Orb and Guts is a very potent combination. You really wouldn't want to use Toxic Orb because Flame Orb is just better. It used to be that Toxic Orb was better because as long as you didn't stay in for like more than 3 turns, the damage was less than Burn, because Burn used to be 1/8 of your health instead of 1/16 as it is now. So, you know, more fun facts. But yeah, Flame Orb Guts makes it a pretty strong mon. Unfortunately, it doesn't have that big of an attack stat, but that Flame Orb Guts boost, especially with Stab, Facade, can sting really hard. Knockoff as well is really good. You get access to close combat for steel types, as well as some other coverage. It's a normal type. It gets a lot of moves: Fire Punch, Gunk Shot, other for fair deals as well, I guess. Close combat. The signature move, Obstruct, basically works kind of like King Shield, except it lowers defense by 2 stages instead of attack. And King Shield doesn't work like that anymore, but whatever. Parting Shot as well is good for momentum. Yeah, and then it gets like Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, stuff like that. Yeah, Bulk Up as well is good for setup. You can switch a route so you can trick your Flame Orb onto something else and cripple that. And yeah, that's about much as I want to say. Decent speed too. But anyway, next up we got Skarm, 1/2 of the infamous Skarm of List Core. Yeah, I mean obviously this thing has been the premier physical wall ever since Gen 2, ever since it first came out. Unfortunately, it didn't get access to Roost until like Gen 4, but it still was really good even in stuff like Gen 2 and Gen 3. Gen 2 was like really a decent check to Curse Lax, and Gen 3 is there's the reason why Magneton is like everywhere in Generation 3. Well, it's not everywhere, but it's seen on a good amount of times. But anyway, you're probably going to be running sturdy with this. Obviously, really good physical wall. Steel Flying is a really good typing, only with the 2 types, Electric and Fire. Both are only ×2 effective, so that's pretty good. In terms of Loophole, it is one of the kings of hazard control and hazards in general. Stealth Rock, Spikes, and Defog all exist within its moveset. That's the rear, so I already mentioned before. In terms of other moves, you probably can run Brave Bird. It gets Body Press now, which is really good off of really high physical defense. It gets Iron Head if you want to hit fairy types, and it also gives access to counter. So that could do some good damage as well. Toxic is also really nice on it, just being able to cripple things, that's switching on it. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. You could try to run some cheeky like Swords Dance Weak Armor sets, which could be pretty cool. It doesn't have that good of an attack stat, but it might be able to work on some teams. So yeah. Yeah, that's about it. Next up we got Illumise, another Prankster Mon. It's the only mon that got access to Wish, although wishes off of the base 65 HP aren't necessarily the best wishes in the world. But it does get access to Wish plus a momentum grabbing move like U-turn, or other moves would be like Flip Turn, Teleport, stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty solid on its own already. And then it has a pretty good defensive loophole as well. It gets access to stuff like Thunder Wave, Toxic. I already mentioned Wish, and actually maybe it's not that great. Baton Pass, if you want to just do that instead, although I don't know why you would do that, because, yeah. I don't know. Well, if you want to do fast turns out, like fast U-turn out, because the Baton Pass would be priority, like, I guess you could do that. Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess we're around there too, but I mean, obviously, this thing doesn't really exert much offense on its own, with its highest attack stat being special attack at 73, which is not very good. And mono bug typing is not the greatest either, but you can make it work in a draft. And then last up, we got Toxifex's little brother, Marini. Obviously, you're going to be running EVI on this almost 90% of the time, and you're going to be running Regenerator 90% of the time. It actually has the same attacking stats as the Toxifex though, so if you want to run Merciless, you're more than welcome to do so, or like run Specs or some crazy stuff like that. Although if you run Specs, obviously this thing has no bulk, so you'd kind of need EVI. It's an evolved version of Toxifex. Besides the item choice, you really have the same options. Scald, Haze, Toxic Spikes, Recover, Knockoff. It's the same. It's basically the same. It's not as bulky, but it's the same. Yeah, so that's his team in general. And, what I was worried about on his team, obviously, as I mentioned before, super bulky team. I think that's 4 Regenerator Mons, along with Magic Bounce as well, 2 Prankster Mons, technically speaking, and, it's crazy. And then Square Mon. So, this is a really, really bulky team, and I have to make sure that I can't get outlasted when I fight again. So, mainly, my main concerns were Tornadus Therian and Sableye. Both Tornadus Therian I was more worried about because it has amazing pivot potential, basically forcing a lot of switches and being able to just be really annoying to my team. Sableye I was also a little bit worried about as well. I didn't really have any good ways to damage it. Yeah, even though I have a Diancie, which is a pretty solid fairy type, Moonblast is not going to be doing too much to Sableye if it's max Medef, so something to worry about as well. For Uniclus, I was kind of worried about as well, just because Calm Mindset can get out of hand if I'm not being too careful. Keldeo is really, really good offensively against my team. I don't have a mod that resists both fighting and water, so... Actually, wait, no, I do. It's Roselia. I forgot. But it does have coverage to beat Roselia out, so... And especially, it's Air Slash too, which worries me a lot because I have a bad history of punches. Scar obviously is also super worrying as well. Although, it's more so because I can't kill it super well. Steel Flying types, generally speaking, I have a pretty bad matchup against. I do have a Rotom, but that's pretty much all I have, and all it takes is 1 Toxic for a Rotom to get crippled, so yeah. But those are my main concerns, and then in the end, I was able to put up this team. So first off, we got Kyurem. Just ran a classic spec set. Okay, not a classic spec. So when I was building, I kind of realized I really only need Ice Beam and Freeze Dry for damage, because that hits everything either resist. It hits everything either for neutral or more. So, might as well. And then Draco Meter was just kind of there just because, what if I want, a big, strong, kill this thing right now move. So, there's that. And then I ran Toxic last, just so I can poison things. So, I kind of expected him to bring, AV Reuniclus because that was kind of the main thing. That was one of the main things that could actually eat, Ice Beams and whatnot from Kyurem. So, I was like, I might as well run Toxic. If he brings Reuniclus, I can just go ahead and Toxic that. And then, hopefully things work out from there. Next up, we got Hoopa. I just made it a Scarf Mon, just enough speed to outspeed Tornadus Therian, which is the fastest Mon on the team. And the rest is just into special attack and then some bulk. Coverage moves, I just have Dark Pulse, Psychic, Thunderbolt, and Trick. Although honestly, I didn't intend on using Trick at all in this match, so honestly, I probably could have gotten rid of that for something else, but who cares? So yeah. Next up, we got Roselia, just in classic EVLA Roselia with a good amount of defensive investment. We got Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb, kind of need Giga Drain for Keldeo, Sludge Bomb for Comfy, and then I run Spikes because Spikes are amazing, and Synthesis for recovery. I ran Natural Cure over Poison Point because I wanted to have a status absorption, and Poison Point wasn't super good. I mean, he did have a couple of U-turners and whatnot, but like I was kind of more concerned about just like getting Skullbird and maybe getting accidentally chipped into range or something. So I was just like, you know, I might as well run natural here. Next up, we got Rotom, pretty classic Rotom. You know, Volt Switch, Hydro Pump are staples, and then we got Pain Split and Defog. Pain Split just for recovery, and Defog is just for getting rid of hazards because my team doesn't really like hazards. Two of them are weak to rocks, and they don't even have boots to help them, and then the rest of them are grounded, which means they are hit by spikes, so not good. But yeah. Next up, we got Beedrill, just mostly classic Beedrill. You know, we got max attack adamant because I don't need to be jolly to outspeed anything. I can just be adamant and then outspeed. So yeah, 376, obviously to outspeed Tornado Therian. U-turn Poison Jab knockoff, no explanation really needed there. Last one was just Endeavor. Because I kind of realized, like, so he does have a little bit of priority on his team, but like at the end of the day, my Beedrill fast and everything. So like, and also I anticipated my Beedrill to be pretty chipped by hazards. Because, you know, Skarm is going to get up spikes or self-lock or whatever, and I'm going to start getting worn down like that, right? So I was hoping, like, if my Beedrill ever gets to 1 HP, obviously his first switch-in is always going to be Skarmory, and so I was hoping I would Endeavor that shit as it comes in and then be able to kill it with, like, U-turn or Poison Jab, or U-turn or knockoff, so that was kind of fun. And then, last up, we got Diancie, just kind of a stealth rocker. I just ran Moonblast, Diamond Storm, and Heal Bell. I just ran Max Defense as well. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's get into the replay. Excuse me, I'm going to adjust my settings. Alright, let me switch sides here. So this is going to be a little bit of a longer one, if you will all bear with me. Also, I already spent 20 minutes, so I better hurry the heck up. So looking at the matchup on the lead slot, I kind of... Actually, I don't remember what I did. Pretty sure I left Rotom, just because, you know, it has a pretty good lead matchup against everything here. Threatens Skarmory, threatens Torn, it doesn't really threaten Mega Stable, but I can always switch it out on it. And then Quagsire is like the only thing that would be bad for the Rotom as a lead. So he does go Skarm against my Rotom. I'm just gonna go for Volt Switch here turn 1. I'm gonna play it safe. You know, we're not gonna make any risky switches. And I go into Roselia here as he doubles into the Sableye. Pretty solid plan on him. So he's going to go for the Mega and then goes for the Wisp. Nice on his part. At this turn, so I was pretty sure he would have the Upburst on the Sableye, but I wasn't, and I have Heal Bell, so I could have gone for Heal Bell on this turn, but honestly, like, I didn't really care if he went for Double Burst because Moonblast will usually 2-hit KO Sableye, which means that as long as I can keep it down to like 50%, usually it won't be able, as long as I don't like keep Roselia or like Rotom out, he won't be able to come back from that. He'll always be at like 50%. So I'm just gonna go for the Moonblast. It does a little bit less than half. Obviously he's gonna go for the Metal Burst here, does a lot of damage, but it won't kill me. So yeah, and then I second guess myself here. I get a crit on the Quagsire. It didn't actually really matter because he would be able to recover it off. But I actually was thinking about going for Rocks on the turn that saved my switch, which would have been a really good idea on my end, but it didn't pan out. I was able to get a Moonblast critical hit though, so that was pretty cool. I know that with the leftovers, I won't be able to kill Quagsire without another critical hit Moonblast, so at this point I'm just gonna go to Roselia, cut my losses, you know. At this point I'm gonna double into Kyurem. Basically, I just don't want to give him any chances of Sableye to come in and try to, you know, recover HP. He goes into Skarm though, so, you know, I mean, that was a fine for that, is it? So at this point, I kind of think, like, maybe this Skarmory is Videf, and he really could be, like, max Videf, which means that Ice Beam is not going to do anything. Also, he has 30. Also, he could have Body Press, so, you know, I don't want to pull the trigger just yet. I'm just going to go to Rotom first. He just goes for Roost. Nothing doing, really. So I'm just going to go for Hydro Pump here. I was predicting, like, a Quagsire to come in, but, you know, he stays in, he goes up and gets Rocks. I'm just going to go for Defog here. Also, I see no item, so most likely it is Helmet Skarm, from my guessing. Also, that damage from Hydro Pump indicates that this Skarmory is actually max Videf, so, or at least a good amount of Videf. Anyway, I go for Defog here. Obviously, I can't stand a Quagsire on a possible Toxic, but I will go into Kyurem. So I just kind of go for, like, aggressive switches because I want to, because, like, the last couple turns I've always gone Roselia, so I feel like it should make sense for him to not, you know, to, like, predict that and go Torn. This is technically a good matchup for me, if I pulled the trigger. So Superpower would never, if he has Superpower, even if he's adamant, Superpower will never kill Kyurem at full. So if I stayed in, right, And if he went for superpower, I would have killed him with ice beam. But I didn't really want to do that yet. I want to keep my Kyurem slightly healthy. So he goes for superpower here. He has White Herb actually, which means he definitely has acrobatic in the back. And the damage indicates that the Tornadus is actually fully physical. So, or at least it's like adamant. So, good information to know. He goes for U-turn here. I'm just gonna go for, I think I just go for Volt Switch again. Oh no, I go for Hydro Ball. And it turns out he is actually Water Absorb Quagsire, which is kind of surprising actually. I guess he was relying on the fact that I was a decent player to think that it was always going to be unaware. But I mean, also Water Absorb, you know, to be fair, like it does wall Rotom. Like I can't do anything. So, you know, fair play. You know, fair choice of moving. Anyway, he goes for Toxic here on my Roselia. I'm gonna double again into Kyurem on hopefully something cool, which is Skarmory. So I think at this range, like Skarmory had a slight chance to live Ice Beam, but you know, very slight chance. It's like 59 to like 70. So I'm just gonna go for the Ice Beam. Start firing him off. Ice Beam does 55, which is really nice. And yeah, so it turns out this Kofi is like max Spadef. So yeah, I guess this is the Kyurem check. I'm just gonna pull a double hard into Beedrill. I expect a Draining Kiss with Synthesis, and he goes for Synthesis. He goes to Scarm here. I should have gone for knockoff here because Scarm Switch was pretty obvious, but I think unnecessary chip. But that was kind of on me. But anyway, I get to go back into Kyurem and fire up another Ice Beam. Or I should go for Toxic this time. Yeah. So I mean, like, this is just like if he has Aromatherapy, he can go for it. But like, you know, it's pretty good on my end. If he doesn't, he does have Aromatherapy though, as it turns out. Probably could have gone Beedrill on this turn. But anyway, Roselia comes out on the U-turn. Obviously, I'm not going to click Spikes because, you know, there's a freaking Mega Sableye in the back. So, honestly, I think he should have gone to Sableye this turn to try to recover. I went for Sludge Bomb that turn on the hope that I would be able to poison the Sableye. Like, I know he has Aromatherapy and Kofi, but being able to poison that for a little bit would be really nice. Turns out he just goes back to Skarm. I just go into my Rotom on Roost, and I just go for Volt Switch hard, because, like, I understand he has Quagsire, but just, like, Roselia walls it, so, like, I don't really care. I mean, to be fair, he can gain momentum off of it, like, just by, like, go Quagsire on the Rotom, then predict my double again, Roselia, like, using Torn, but, like, I don't feel like thinking. I just go hard into Kyurem on the Drill Peck. It turns out that's the only offensive move it has, so, you know, that's pretty good for me. It goes Comfy again, I'm just going for Ice Beam. Honestly, like, at this point, I should have realized this, like, I don't know, 10 turns earlier. You'll see me do this later, but, like, I should have just started spamming Ice Beam, because Comfy, gets 2-hit KO most of the time, so, like, he doesn't have the recovery to stop me from spamming Ice Beam. But, you know, whatever. I just go Beedrill here on the Draining Kiss. It does, you know, 12%, nothing doing. Just gonna go for the knockoff here, because, yeah, I should be going for the knockoff. And I get a nasty critical hit. Really, really scary crit on my end, just because, like, well, now Skarmory might die, which is really bad for him, because then Beedrill just goes in. And obviously, I go for knockoff again. I get the, leftovers off of Quagsire. I go for the U-turn onto Kyurem as he goes for the recover. And now, I don't necessarily get a kill, but he's in a really bad spot. And I just go for Ice Beam, and he just lets his Quagsire go. So I guess this is, like, one of the bigger misplays he made this game. I mean, like, honestly, like, he played really well, though, honestly, though. Props to him. But, like, this was definitely not something to do. Because, essentially, if he lets Quagsire go, look at Rotom and look at his team, man. It just Volt Switches forever. So I get free momentum any day of the week. So that's not good. I stay in on this because Superpower, as I said before, Superpower doesn't kill me. Okay, I'm getting emails for some reason. Okay, but anyway, Superpower doesn't actually wait. The Superpower has a slight chance to kill me. I was like it does like 79.2 max, and I was like 78.9. So like very slight chance to kill me. But like, you know, I was like, you know, screw this. If it actually goes to Superpower, I kill this Torn most likely, and then like, what is he gonna do afterwards? So he goes to go for U-turn. I'm just gonna go for the Ice Beam. I want to get my damage. Keldeo comes in. I just go to Roselia because why not? it's my Keldeo check. Goes for the flip turn. That indicates minus, the damage indicates like minus attack-ish, so I was like, I'm not really sure what this is yet, but it's probably either Specs or Scarf if I had to guess, because there's no leftovers. Goes back into Scarf. Unfortunately, he will get his health back. Not much I could do about that, though. Go into Rotom. I go into Kyurem again on the Skarmory, though. Just click an Ice Beam. Okay, at this point, I really should have started just spamming the shit out of Ice Beam. Like, there is nothing he can do. I think I do start doing that. Yeah, so I'm just firing them off. Like, what are you gonna do? I think I just go into Visual here, just cause maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't let Kyurem get chipped because it's at 50%. But like, honestly, I probably should have just kept spamming Ice Beam. Anyway, it goes to the Scarf here. I'm just gonna click U-turn. I don't care. Click a U-turn every day, man. It's like, even if I click Poison Jab, it'll land. I don't know. If it clicks Poison Jab on the Scarf coming in, I'm like, who cares? I just go into Rotom, and then I get a full switch, and now he's locked in the loop. The Volt Turn really do be scary, though. So, I think I pulled the trigger here. No, I just go for U-turn. And then, he chooses the Sack Sableye, which, I guess was fine. To be fair, like, it does reset momentum for him, but like losing Sableye this early on, it's kind of scary for him because now I get to set up hazards for free now, right? So Beedrill goes out, Hoopa comes in, Keldeo comes in. I didn't want to risk this thing being Scarf, and I know this thing is like Mega Horn and shit, so I didn't want to stay in on that, so I just go into Roselia here. Turns out he is actually Scarf X Scissor. We'll find out later he actually is Scarf, but yeah, he's X Scissor, so like I'm glad that I made the switch. So I just get some spikes up. Torrent's just gonna go for knock off my leftovers, which is pretty scary. And U-turn leaves me at 35%, but I'm just gonna go for that nice little pain split, get a little bit of my effect. You know how to do. We're just gonna click Ball Switch, I think. Oh no, I hard double on the Beedrill. Never mind. He goes ahead and goes for Synthesis. I think I go for P-Jab here. Yeah. I wish I just went for U-turn again, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, so go for U-turn, go into Rotom Wash, he goes for Roost. You know, we're vibing, we're chilling. Go for Pain Split here, get some health back as he goes for Rock. Oh no, he goes for Defog Zone. It's fine. Comfy comes in, go for the Volt Switch, very, very lackadaisically. Go to Beedrill. I'm gonna click U-turn. You know how to be. So he actually calls me out on that, and I go into Roselia just to answer that. He goes for a U-turn of his own, brings back in Skarm. Just gonna go into Rotom though. Who cares, man? Stealth Rock comes up though. Whatever. I'm just gonna defog. We're vibing. We're vibing in this. We're vibing in this atmosphere. I just go for Hydro Bump here. He's going for that Roost though. He knows. I'm just gonna defog again. Who cares? It doesn't matter. He goes for Roost again, putting himself back at full. Whatever, man. I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, I'm just vibing. I just go for U-turn here again. Just brings back in the Skarm. Oh wait, no, I go for Poison Jab. Why did I go for Poison Jab? Made no sense. I'm gonna U-turn. Yeah, you should U-turn. Rotom Wash comes back in on the rocks. Whatever. Defog. He goes for Stealth Rock again. Whatever. I think he can go for Defog again. Oh, I go for Rinse. Yeah, so now I have health. And I'm just gonna easily go for Defog again. Yeah. Look at that. I got a brain. No, I don't know. Obviously, we're gonna go for Volt Switch here. Who cares? Beedrill comes in. Who cares? Who cares? Yeah, U-turn now. Doing 45. It's about down to 45. He goes for U-turn of his own. Brings back in Tornadoes. I'm just going to Rotom Wash. Who cares? Look how good Rotom. Anyway, so Keldeo comes in here. I'm just gonna go ahead and sack Diancie because why not? Because like it was pretty useless at that point. Like the only way I could have gotten more use out of it is setting up rocks against the Skarmory, but it has defog. But like to be fair, I would have been able to keep up rocks because I would have just spammed it. But like it's okay if I don't have rocks. Anyway, I go for my Hoopa here because I know that if it's a Scarf Secret Sword, will not knock me out. So I'm gonna stay in and go for that T-Bolt. Yeah, turns out this is the turn we've realized it's Scarf. And I'm able to kill it. Kobe comes back in, trying to go for that nice little Draining Kiss, but it's okay. I'm going to keep going with Beedrill. Probably should have gone with Lily here, because the Draining Kiss was more obvious in the U-turn. So, but it's fine. I'm just going to go for U-turn here. Got that nice critical hit, 13%. Yeah, it's not doing anything. But I get to go into Kyurem here, and I'm just going to start. Okay, this is the turn where I finally realized I should have just spammed Ice Beam from the beginning, because, he's almost out of synthesis. So, like, who cares? So yeah, and this is the last synthesis he got. I just go for Light Beam again. I'm just gonna go into Beedrill. He goes for the Draining Kiss, heals up a little bit, and then he goes for Draining Kiss again. I'm keeping my Beedrill low, and I go for the U-turn, and I get another critical hit. So this critical hit may have mattered, because basically I was out of Beedrill. He didn't really have any defense investment for the Comfy, so the maximum I would have done is actually like 39.5% or something like that. Usually, he probably is at like 38 or something because that's the showdown runs up, so whatever. So, to be fair, he probably should have lived with like a sliver of health, like normally, but the crit just kind of helped me seal the deal, I guess. And you know, yeah, I mean, things like this happen, right? I did get some good luck in this game, but I wouldn't say like the luck drastically influenced the course of the game per se. Okay, the crit, I think the crit on Scar mattered much more than the crit on this Comfy, because like honestly, it would have been at 8%. Like what was it going to do at the end? Like I could have gone Rotom, Vultures probably would have knocked it out even after the Draining Kiss probably, like, so I would be at like maybe like, you know, like 37% of the run. Like I don't think it mattered too much in the end of if the crit, but you know, in the first place I could have been able to kill it anyway, so whatever. I just go Rotom here. He just goes for U-turn on Torn, but I'm just gonna click my Volt Switch. And at this point, I know since I have both Koopa and Beedrill being faster than Torn, there's no way he can win this game. Thunderbolt on the Koopa is gonna, you know, obviously take out the Skarmory, and then Thunderbolt on the Torn is gonna do a lot of damage. He's gonna take me out the U-turn, but at this point, it's too late. Beedrill is gonna come in and take the kill with Poison Jab. So I'm in finals. I wasn't really expecting to get the finals this quickly, but you know, fortune calls, I guess. I did get two semi big crits. One of them mattered a little bit more than the other, I would say, but you know, overall, I think, you know, I mean, obviously, I would like to say like I would have won anyways, but like I think honestly, like, okay, you know what? To be fair, I think it would have been a much more close game if those crits didn't happen. But in but like honestly, the crits didn't matter too much to the outcome. I think I still would have been able to win as long as I was playing well after turn 75. By the way, this is a 75 turn game, but which honestly isn't that long. I played a lot longer, but yeah. So in the end, we were able to win, and we're in finals. The last opponent we have is, of course, one of the people who beat me. Is actually what's his tag again? I forgot. I don't know his name. You know, let's just find it. Hold on. Let me just find it. I have his team somewhere. Here we go. Sacramento City Kings. That's his name. I almost forgot. But yeah, we're probably not going to use this team again. But you know, we got a week to prep, and hopefully I'm able to clutch out another win and take the crown. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.